Greetings, brothers and sisters.
Greetings, greetings. My name is Chief Fodea Gentleman Suray, and I'm here with you live representing the ASE Collective, African State of Emergency. Today, we're here to bring you a dynamic presentation just to really update you guys on what has been taking place with the collective over the last year since we was here with you on this same date last year. And so we have a great panel to come out and discuss. We have Baba FM, we have Brother Zeb, we have Mama Jalika, we have Sister Kenya. We have a group here that's going to have a great conversation with you. But in keeping with tradition and custom, we always start everything with a memory of our ancestors, and we will always want for them to be present wherever we gather for the purpose of African liberation. So with no further ado, I want to move forward to a libation that our very own Queen Mother, Mama Jalika, prepared for us last year that we'll continue to use every year because it's just that dynamic. And with no further ado, here it is.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. My name is Jalika Jatta. As an elder within the ASE Collective, I've been given the honor to initiate tonight's program by recognizing, respecting, and referencing the ancestors whose shoulders we stand on and our elders whose shadows we walk in. Ancestral spirits, we call upon you today. We stand before you, ancestors, spirits of the land, sea, and sky, guides of our past, protectors of our present. We honor your wisdom, your strength, and your sacrifices. To those who came before, who walked this earth with dignity and grace, who sowed the seeds of our existence, we offer our gratitude, our respect, our devotion. Today, we especially honor our brothers and sisters who have found solitude on the soil of Africa and have passed on in countries such as Ghana and Gambia. Our ancestors who in life sought to uplift and protect the community. May their spirits find peace and continue to inspire us. May our ancestors carry forth their mission of care and unity, recognizing the need for the enhanced safety and security. We, the ASE Collective, stand on the values of Uadilafo, Umoja, and Ujima, committed to fostering an environment of mutual respect and protection. For all diasporas, Africans, home and abroad, may the ancestral spirits continue to give us blessings, to give us courage, to empower us, to thrive, to create a safer, more supportive network. Honoring the principles of balance, harmony, and justice, I pour these words as sacred libations to our ancestors. May they reach you in the realms beyond, and may your spirits continue to guide us in unity, in love, in the internal circle of life. Ashe. Amen.
Ashe, Ashe. All right, so we're about to get this ball rolling. First of all, we will be doing introductions so that you guys out there know our team and you understand how we operate. So first and foremost, again, I'm Chief Fodea Ajamu Mansoray, also known as Mansa Fodea Ajamu. I serve this body as the president for the ASE Collective.
Yes, everyone. My name is Kenya Malinke Mansoray, and I serve in the capacity of Public Relations Officer, and I'm part of the Public Relations team.
Right. Mama Jalika,
I'm back now. Yes.
Right. Brother Zeb. Baba FM. All right, guys. So if each of you can introduce yourselves and your position within the collective.
Shall I start first?
Yes, ma'am.
Greetings to all, greetings to all. My name is Jalika Jatta. I'm International Coordinator here in Gambia.
Thank you.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Zeb Allen, and I'm also a coordinator on the international diplomacy team, and I'm situated in the Gambia also.
Thank you. Bye-bye, fan.
Yes, I'm Baba Afam, based in Brooklyn, New York. I'm international coordinator of the mental health advocacy team for ASE Collective.
Who is this? Somebody's trying to enter, but I don't see who they are. All right, we'll go before. So anyway, welcome everybody. This symposium is to inform you. It is to give you clarity once again that we are still doing the work, that we love doing the work. We will never stop loving doing the work. We want to always be real and transparent with our people and those who we seek to support us. And so we will be talking about some of the challenges and even some of the struggles that we've had throughout the year. You know, just trying to get this thing going as well. For the record, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So for the record,
Someone needs to mute their mic. There's a lot of noise.
Okay, Mama Jalika, can you mute your mic? I believe it might be your side.
I think it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It's cool, right?
Yeah.
All right. So you got some background sound, Mama Jalika. We'll just have you unmute when it's time for you to talk. All right. All right. So once again, welcome. And these are the facilitators. These are some of the members of the collective. There are others, but these are active components of this machine that we've been building to service our people. Of course, the call to action is safety and security for the African diaspora, and particularly as we travel and live on the continent. Now, it doesn't mean that we are not concerned with the general safety and security of all African people, because our program includes providing training and opportunities to all African peoples to learn more about safety and security and what they can do about organizing themselves in their own communities to secure that. And then at the same time, we are actively involved as a group, as a collective, in coming up with some general solutions that could be adopted and implemented by African people anywhere we are. So it's not just a matter of it being only for the diaspora, but this particular call of action comes directly from attacks and the insecurity of members of the African diaspora, even the lack of knowledge of safety and security of members of the African diaspora, and it leading not only to, at sometimes robbery, at sometimes death. We've had murders in our community here on the continent, and some people won't get on live and tell you that, but it's our job to tell you that our people have began more than before to get find ourselves in the grave on the continent. And a lot of times we realize that there are security measures that could have been taken. There were security capacities that didn't exist. Maybe there was no mental health intervention or team that was there to respond to someone before, they put themselves in the situation. So our job was to capacitate the African diaspora on the continent with the ability to, through self-reliance and doing for self mentality, to create a network of us on the continent and abroad that's working to safeguard this part of our return to the continent and this reconnection, So that's the purpose mainly for this symposium, and really for the ASE Collective, is to make sure that we have this interaction with the people, that we make sure that we also play our role in making sure that we evaluate the conditions and the circumstances, and we bring to you the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats that present themselves as we operate. So I'd like to get some conversation going now, and to set the stage. I want to do some recaps. We can kind of like go back and just kind of like reminisce on what we've done over the last year, and even before that, even before that, I like to recognize and pay special respect to those members who was with us, but they, duty has called them elsewhere. And we know that in heart and in mind, they're still with us. But physically, in terms of the work, we're moving forward. We still want to salute you, recognize you, shout you out, Brother Siraj, Sister Iya. We're forever ASE Collective together. I'm pretty sure that once your schedules and your calendars clear up, you'll be right back on the team making things happen. So for now, don't worry about nothing. We got this thing going forward. But really, just to talk about the recap, this initiative started as a consequence of a series of deaths, particularly in Gambia. In that country, over the last 2 years, there was a unsettling amount of questionable deaths among the diaspora, but there was some definite murder that took place with our sister Shakina Chinidu. And when that happened, it became more than just an issue in Gambia. It became an issue for the whole African diaspora on the continent to be concerned about, because we're seeing a lot of the same worries, a lot of the same threats present wherever we are. We talk to the Africans from the diaspora, anywhere we are on the continent, trying to make things shake. There's certain challenges to it, and a lot of times we get out here and we think we can just wing it and do it ourselves, and we can't. We really do need each other. We need a safety and security network. And so after the death of Sister Shakina, myself, Brother Siraj, and others, we came together. We pulled a team together. Sister Jalika, Kenya, Brother Ramzul, Sister Iya, and we got the ball rolling. We started organizing around last May. And, of course, those who remember, last August, we gave you one of these symposiums where we basically launched. We came out and said, hey, we're doing this program. Come join us. Come help us. We want to be able to change the status quo and make things more safe and secure for our people on the continent. And it's been great. It's been a great year, to tell you the truth. We still have a lot of improvements to make, but and I don't want to overwhelm you with my own report. I do want to move around a little bit, because I think the highlight of this year was the consolidation of our teams. Since the last time we met, our team have really consolidated. International coordinating and diplomacy team has grown in numbers. We've had Brother Zeb, we got Sister Abina, we have new membership. And also we've been able to do some grassroots community work in the Gambia. And this is the highlight of this year. This year's work highlight. And so we've all been doing our thing. Don't get it twisted. The main thing in doing this work is creating systems that work. So a lot of this work you won't see physically yet. We have to create systems of procedure and processes and make sure that communications are operating right, even among ourselves, before we can begin to service others. And so it's very important to understand that. In the process, we also knew that we had to engage the community, particularly in the Gambia. The Gambia situation is still hot. There has still been further death in the Gambia after Sister Shakina, since the formation of ASE Collective. You understand? And that threat is still there. Right now, there are other indications that there's a great worry for the security and safety of the people there in Gambia now. There's other groups forming themselves for this purpose. And so I've had this conversation on several platforms. And I've even had people tell me, well, how many people get killed in Chicago every day? Well, how many people die in London every day? It's not that bad, but it's alarming. It's very, very alarming for members of the African diaspora to be murdered. You very rarely hear about a European being murdered anywhere in Africa. You very rarely hear about a Chinese person being murdered anywhere in Africa. An Indian, anywhere in Africa. A Lebanese, anywhere in Africa. But the African diaspora can be murdered in Ghana, in Gambia, all over. How? And we're not supposed to have this conversation. No, we're going to have this conversation. And we're going to come to a solution as well. And so that's what we've always been here for. this collective. I want to shift over to the Gambia real quick, where Brother Zeb and Sister Jalika, Mama Jalika, they have been leading the work on the ground there all this year. And early on, I believe it was in May, we had the first town hall meeting in March.
No.
It was in March, right?
Yeah.
In March, we had the first town hall meeting of the whole ASE Collective. We still plan to do them in other areas, even some virtual ones that we'll talk about later on. But Mama Jalika and Brother Zed, they kicked the door in. They initiated the process of engagement in the Gambia, did a very, very, very successful first meeting. And I want you guys to talk about some of the details of doing this kind of work on the ground, some of the challenges, and just give us an overview of what it's been like with the town halls and just trying to get the people organized there in the Gambia.
Okay. Can you hear me first?
Yes.
Okay. Lovely. I'll start quite simply because the weather is not very good here and I might get cut off. So Brother Zeb, you may have to take over if it goes off.
Okay.
All right. So myself and my brother Zeb, we knew each other from, maybe 15 years ago. We worked together. And the reason why I'm saying that is because it helps in terms of working together, knowing each other, communication, in order to bring the community together. So I just wanted to put that in, yeah? Yes, I have been here now, living here for over 5 years, but I came to Gambia and learned a lot about Gambia from my first visit, which was in 1999. So I know quite a lot about Gambia. And the community. Initially then, it was mainly the local community that I knew. As time has gone on, we've always come in to visit, go back to UK and to Gambia. Gradually, the British Black community became very heavy in terms of attendance, and people then started to settle here. So things became a little bit different in terms of expectations, what people needed. Everything was kind of different then. We found over the last 5 years that I've lived here that, as you were saying, Brother Mansa, before, there's a lot of issues in terms of safety and security. We find that the government hasn't really been good in terms of development to acknowledge us as returnees. So we have to make our own table and we have to do it ourselves. And if that means that we have to do it ourselves, we have to get together as a community that is new to Gambia, is new to their customs, and how they're living, and try and involve all of us as one, just to make sure we are involved within the country.
Yeah.
So myself and Zeb, along with the rest of the family of Ashe, came up with the idea to do town halls. And the town halls is like a gathering, a meeting where the new community, the new returnee community can put forward how are they feeling here, what is going wrong, how can we amend it, how can we get together with the locals, how can we step forward in terms of the government to make them know that we are here. So in March, we had our first town hall meeting, and we had a very, very good step out, yeah. There was about over 20 odd people. And it was very fiery in terms of how people felt, also how people felt about what had happened in terms of Sister Shakina's passing and death. But there'd also been other mysterious deaths as well. So it was mainly looking at issues such as that, but also a lot of crime that's been going on in Gambia in terms of people going into compounds, stealing on the street, just usual things like that, everyday kind of crime, of which, you know, if you are not used to Gambia, you need to know that people are around you to help you and to secure the situation. So from that meeting, it was very, very clear that people were very anxious about how they felt in terms of safety, how they felt in terms of security. What else then? What can you mention a little bit?
Yeah, well, yeah, I would say what you've said. Safety was the main issue for people, as in, like you've explained, there's been a lot of petty crime, burglaries, stealing, pickpocketing, that kind of stuff down in particular areas. So that was the main concern. However, the security overall in terms of the infrastructure security, such as if you had an accident and you hurt yourself badly, what happens? If it's in the middle of the night, have you got ambulance or anything to come and get you and so forth? So it's all that type of sort of safety and well-being sort of concerns people had, but the overall one was about the dangers within the communities and how safe are we. I would say that was the main focus what people had at that town hall. Yeah. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Mama Jalika, was you finished?
I was just going to go on to the, unless you wanted us to go on to the second one, the second town hall.
Absolutely.
From the findings of the first town hall, myself and Zeb, gathered all what the participants wanted and needed to have a second town hall. And from that was to speak for individuals from the police to attend, to get a lawyer in terms of issues regarding land, usual things like that. Immigration, yes, we got four individuals to attend for I think it was in June, was it, Zeb?
Yes.
June 4, yes.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, for the town hall.
14th of June.
We didn't have a very good turnout in June. However, we did have the authorities from each aspect of authority, and they fed us with a lot of information, of which it would have been good to share that with individuals who would have attended that second meeting. We plan to do that again, but hopefully we will do that on a virtual, and hopefully with the same authorities that we had on that day. So it has been hard working within the community, and I have to say also, people that attended on the first meeting, I think they would have preferred if we had gone down to the more tourist developed area, to opposed to where we had the meeting. We had the meeting in a village called Kartong, Gunju, and a lot of people would have preferred if we had gone down there. And I think maybe we may have had more people if we had gone down to that area. But then again, if I need to go and do any meetings or shopping, I have to go down that area. So I just think when you are fed information, important information, you will go anywhere for information. Yeah. So yes, that's it. I'm just looking forward to the virtual meeting in the future.
Brother Zed,
Yes.
there was a lot of information that came out of the discussion at the second town hall with the authorities. Do you mind going over some of that? Just with the people.
Well, I think a lot of the in terms of what we were looking at, firstly, the police, because one of the issues we discussed in the first town hall was based on what sort of provisions and what sort of things the police service can actually offer the community and to us as a smaller community in the Gunju area. So that's why we actually spoke to the police to get them to hopefully come along and give us some information. Unfortunately, the police could not make it the day. However, they've fed back and explained that they're trying to go too much to their IS seniors to see if they can give more of information to see how they can actually help us. I think from my understanding, because the resources for the police within the area, not only Gunju area, but I think all around Gambia itself, the resources are not that good. So for the police wanting to kind of collaborate with what we're doing in ASE is to kind of, I think they're trying to push their seniors to look at resources and services, what they've got. So maybe things like cars, more motorbikes, and maybe even just simple stuff like Wi-Fi where they can communicate a little bit more. So one of the issues at the town hall we discussed was the fact that police weren't able to come out if required. When we call them, can they come out? And our experience out there, no, the police won't come out when you call them. So you would either have to go and collect them in order for them to come to you. So those are the things we wanted for the police to come and maybe discuss with us and see how we can work together in order to maybe make that situation a little bit more easier. So if there was an emergency, can the police make it? Can we work with them? Can they come to us, or can we go to them and both of us work together that way? So that's one of the things we wanted to sort out at that meeting. But like I said, the police weren't there to discuss that. But hopefully in the future that will happen. The immigration, we wanted immigration to sort of give us more feedback on issues around, like you said, land. Well, in regards to our status in the country, how is it seen? Who would be involved with that? Obviously, we've got things like the sort of the embassies and so forth, and we were trying to find out from them, how do we fit into these situations? Do they have a say when something happens? If something serious happens to us, how do us as returnees is seen by the embassies, whether it's the British embassy or the American embassy and so forth. So it's those kind of things we wanted the immigration to kind of give us feedback on. Also on citizenship, and so forth, and how would we require citizenship, and how long does it take to get our citizenship, and the best way to do. And they gave us information around those kind of things, as well as the lawyer that came again. We were quizzing him more so around how do we, in terms of a service of what we are trying to put together as ASHE, in terms of a first responder system. We wanted to know how can we work within the law, and the lawyers which were there would kind of make sure certain information, certain things that we can have, certain things that we can use, in terms of security equipment, personal safety equipment. People wanted to know about these things at the first meeting, to say what can they use, what can they carry with them in terms of personal safety. So the lawyer there would also give us some information in regards to what is safe, what can't be safe. And in some respects, a lot of it was similar to what we could use maybe back in the UK or in America. It's apart from sort of firearms in that respect, but in terms of personal security, you can more or less bring the basic things with you, like this, the alarms, the pepper sprays or stuff like that. They said you can use within reason. So it's things like that we wanted to find out from the lawyer and the immigration and the police, in terms of how do we set up our systems, our organization, in order to and work it within Gambia's laws. So yes, that was the whole focus of where we were going with the information and the understanding of things, and how we can work correctly without maybe doing certain things. And in the end, although we are looking to protect ourselves, we then turn out to become the perpetrator, rather than we might start off as being the victims, but because we're not doing things in the right way, we end up being the perpetrators behind. So in the end, we wanted to make these things clear and to find out how can we set up these things, and we're working with the confines of the law. So it went down very well, because we did get, like I said, clear guidelines or guidance, and there's still more what they said they can offer us. So at the moment, like I said, we're just in the first stages in kind of understanding fully what we can do and can't do, and what we can set up and so forth.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I appreciate that analysis. I appreciate that information. Mama Janika?
Yeah, I just really wanted to say that all of this takes time. It really does take time. A lot of people who maybe came to the first town hall and maybe wanted to come to the second, and actually has contacted either me or Zeb to find out, well, what's going on? I just think people need to recognize that this takes time to make sure that we get the right information to feed to the right individuals. Also, on top of that, we all need to be around the table, and we all need to be singing from the same tune, really. Yeah, that's it, really.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. What we've done in Gambia so far is indicative of what we plan to do everywhere. We also have bases on the continent, membership on the continent here in Sierra Leone. We'll be following suit. We're looking to Gambia to continue to provide the leadership. So when it's our turn to do our town hall, and it's our turn to engage with the security forces, the authorities, we already have a roadmap to follow based on what Baba Zeb and Mama Jalika has initiated there in Gambia on behalf of the whole ASHE Collective. I think people out there, particularly those in Gambia who you guys have already engaged with, should know that this is an international effort. It comes from the realization that if we don't do this for ourselves, then it won't be done. And it's happening in the context of the largest wave of returnees in history. There's never been this many Africans from the diaspora making the African continent home again. And we're coming back from different places, different cultures, different everything, different levels of education, different professional backgrounds, different religious backgrounds. And we're here and we're seen as one African diaspora. And sometimes we don't get along. We don't know each other. We don't like each other. We just find ourselves on the continent together. But what happens to one happens to all. If the diaspora community begins to become the target of attacks for criminals, then maybe this rally cry might actually produce the kind of unity that we need to have anyway on the continent. If we can't rally around any issue across the board as Africans from the diaspora and Africans remaining in the diaspora, it should be the safety and security of our people on the continent as we return right now. And so not no other time, not when Garvey was talking about, not Liberia, not Freetown, no. Now people are coming home with their own money and their own will and their own intelligence and doing their best to try to survive and create opportunities for others. It's not easy at all, but we try our best. And so this collective allows us to have the support of our brothers and sisters internationally. We're not just isolated. Zeb and Jalika are not only isolated in Gambia. Myself and Kenya are not only isolated in Sierra Leone, right? Baba FM, he's in New York City, but he's able to actively be involved with the struggle of the diaspora on the ground in Africa before he even gets here, right? Because he's on the way. Right. And so that helps us understand that as the diaspora, as those who were stolen away, we have some common ground here. We have some things that we got to put all the BS differences aside and get some stuff done. And so we talked earlier about Sister Shakina and her passing away, her being murdered. Actually, we say martyred because she was an activist. She was a queen. She was someone who was fighting for our human rights and our basic dignity on the continent within the context of us returning. And some people see us as ATM machines. Some people think that we should just give them money because we came to Africa. And they don't do that. They don't put that pressure on white people. They don't put that pressure on Indian people. We're here. We're watching the discrimination. We're watching it, and we're suffering. Like, man, you wouldn't charge that white man twice as much, but you can see me and realize that I'm from America. I'm black, but you're still going to charge me up. So it's a whole deep level of what people think they can do to the African diaspora on the continent. And it's also that we have to say definitely that we will respond in professional fashion, well-organized fashion, and it will take time, like what Mama Jalika was saying. But the same way Zeb was saying, man, we are taking the steps. The first town hall, we engaged the people in Gambia, let them know this initiative is on the way. The second town hall, leading up to that, we engaged the officials and the authorities. The next town hall will be virtual, and everyone in the world will be able to watch and participate. And so this is how we grow this movement, because it's not just about one place or one individual. It's about us all, and not just now, but permanently. We have to create this security culture, this culture of safety among Africans returning to the continent, regardless of what we're returning for, to visit, to live, to invest. We have to have a culture of security. We have to have those individuals who are organized in every country for the purpose of responding to the needs, the safety and security needs of the African diaspora. Very, very important, because I tell you, there's a lot of stuff on YouTube. I mean, millions of people have come home in the last 10 years just to visit. And I'm telling you, there's more of us here right now living than ever. And we don't have a single united safety and security network among us. We don't know each other. We haven't done the work to pool our resources. And this is the work to do that. So I just wanted to say, before I give Baba FM opportunity to talk about the importance of mental health within the process of maybe of replacement, of leaving one place to another and facing struggle. Baba FM has lived out, he lived around the world. So he's not just a person who just lived in New York somewhere. He's been an expat. He's moved and lived in other cultures. And it's a challenge for all of us. But in the context of Africa, and us being Africans, us being displaced Africans, what are some of the mental challenges, culture shocks that we will face coming back to the continent? And secondly, from your experience on the mental health advocacy team, I know we're down right now in terms of numbers. We're down in numbers, but we're rebuilding. What is the goal of the mental health advocacy team? Like, is it to before someone goes off their rockers, before if we see someone slipping on social media, it's obvious that this person is having a mental breakdown. What do we do, and why is it important to have a mental health advocacy component, not only to ASE Collective, but for every organization in this movement that we're building towards our liberation needs to deal with the mental health component and aspect of it. So I want to kind of segue into that. But before I do, I just want to say that 3 of our core values as ASE Collective is unity, safety, and collective responsibility. This is what we push, and this is what we practice. Some of what we've been doing is for resource databasing. We know that there's not enough information. There's not enough information out there about the African diaspora on the continent. We don't know ourselves. We don't know how many is in Zimbabwe. We don't know how many is in Tanzania. We don't know. So there's a lot of resource databasing that needs to happen. I wish Sister Abina was here because she would explain to you through her advocacy and diplomacy work with the AU how they always put these special stimulations on us for the African diaspora to operate as a single body, and they don't do that. You understand? Like they don't operate as a single body, but there's this expectation that somehow we have to do our own work, like Mama Jalika said, make our own table, and the resource databasing is a big part of what we'll be doing as a collective. But then also there's the training for emergency responders and security consultancy with authorities. There's the In Case of Emergency app, which we'll talk about later, and also these community and virtual town halls as a wrap up of all of what we have begun to discuss and begin to operate around. But Bye-bye, fam, if you can touch on the mental health aspect of this, because, in my personal opinion, even in the Gambia, there were several people who passed away who had obvious mental health crisis. There was one person who we knew personally, and she was a great person and was very sound of mind when we knew her. And we could see her slipping and no one able to really intervene. Can you talk about that, brother? Just the whole general mental health aspect of this.
Man, that's a lot of stuff. I'm taking notes as you're talking. So let me try to wrap all of that up as succinctly as I can.
Yes, sir.
The first thing is, and this is in no particular order because I'm trying to just aggregate all of these thoughts, is that online, on YouTube and other places, yes, I see a wave of people coming in, to Africa from the diaspora. But what's also happening is people are leaving and coming back. They've been in Ghana for 2 or 3 years. They've been in Senegal for 2 or 3 years, whatever. And they're coming back and they're disillusioned. And they've got these horror stories. Yeah, we got there and like the Africans don't want to talk to us. We don't want to talk to them. And this is hard and that's hard. And we didn't know this and we didn't know that. And they trying to rob us. And like you use the term ATM, they trying to treat us like an ATM. And they treat us all differently. And we thought one thing coming in, but the reality is like, it's not what we thought. And this shows a huge critical failure on the part of the social systems and the government to have certain things in place so that they are, for the lack of a better term, onboarded, that they're prepared for the realities of it. Because, I don't even know where the heads and minds of some of these folks in the government are, but they might even be hostile. They might even just want the money from Black Brits or Black Brazilians or Black Americans or whatever, and they're not even thinking any further than that. Just like, okay, we need to we're making X amount here, we can get this much more from these Black folks, right? And if they go back to America, so what? That is causing so much damage. It's a lose-lose proposition when you're not taking care of your own position, your own people, when they're coming back in good faith. And I think most of them are coming back in good faith. But if you're coming just to like screw them over on buying land or screw them over on a business project or whatever, you are selling yourself short because people came in with good intentions wanting to build. And then those who leave and return back are also losers because wherever they go back, they're going back to a system of oppression and they've given up. They're like, F Africa, you know, F this continent. I'm just going to put my head down and do my thing in Britain or in America or Australia or wherever they're at. So that's a big problem. And backing up to put a bedrock or a foundation of the mental health aspect of it. And Chief O'Day knows me well in this respect, and this is kind of how we met. The idea of mental health, as far as African people are concerned, really starts with the damage that has been done through slavery and imperialism and colonialism. And knowing things like what Baba Amos Wilson wrote, The Psychology of Self-Hatred and Self-Defeat. This is so deep in so many of us. I would say, as a health professional, as a psychologist, that this exists in all of us to some degree because we've all been exposed to the systems, because it's the systems that form the mind. And going deeper than that, Black on Black violence, the psychodynamics of self-annihilation in the service of white domination. Yeah. If we got this kind of stuff rocking in the minds of all of our people, we are always moving in a direction of self-destruction unless this stuff can be weeded out and dealt with, right? And that's a part of what I want to infuse into MHAT, because we need to create systems, whether they're private systems, government systems, online systems, that will help to prepare people in the diaspora to come in, regardless of what the government is doing. Right? Because the government is going to be doing its own thing. We got to kind of take things into our own hands. So let's just say there's a family from Los Angeles, or there's a family from Atlanta, or there's a family from London, and they want to come in and they've heard all these great things. We need to create some kind of preparatory onboarding that says, okay, this is the logistics, this is how the money works, this is how this works, this is how that works. But we need to be prepared for the psychology, your psychology, understanding where you're at and get a baseline there, and understanding the psychology of the Africans that you're going to deal with, right? Yeah. Because the person that you mentioned saying that her mental health slipped away, like, she might have been okay in the beginning, but she might not have been super okay. You might not have really known what she was working with. Right. And if she had been traumatized in some way, she could have been triggered. There could have been PTSD that happened. Yeah. And if there were no interventions for her on the ground, then that could have festered, and that could have led to this, and that could have led to that. So it's this whole dynamic hodgepodge of things that can possibly happen, because we're already starting with this. Yeah. Mentally, this is where we're already starting from. So with MHAT, I want to start to direct and put into place these types of onboarding mental preparatory systems that we promote somehow, and let people know that before you go or while you're considering going, this is absolutely crucial to your success on the continent, because without this, you will more than likely face some hardships, and then you won't know how to deal with them, because it's going to like hit you like, this is crazy. Like, I don't understand what's going on. Yeah. You know? And yeah. I don't want to call out, you know, any kind of other Afrocentric organizations or Pan-African organizations that are like having programs to pull people in. One comes to mind, but you know, we're just gonna like keep to what we're doing here. Some of the promotion of these programs is almost like, yo, come to Africa and buy a timeshare. Yo, come to Africa and do a naming ceremony. Come to Africa and see these dances. Come and like eat this exotic food. Come in, we're gonna move back to Africa. And it's like, that's a recipe for disaster because you're not really being honest.
Yeah.
You're not preparing them for the struggles, for the dangers, for the psychological stresses that you will face. Because the main reason, listen, we behave the way we behave because we have certain beliefs and proclivities and perspectives on life that, like this whole thing here, black on black violence, this whole idea is the fact that by hurting each other, we actually, in a sick psychotic way, think that we are getting ourselves ahead by stepping on each other. And a lot of brothers and sisters operate from this subconsciously and unconsciously. So I know I'm rambling a little bit. So let me make a segue here. Some of the goals we had started, well, actually not Kenya, Sister Ia and Suraj had started a travel guide. Let me grab this real quick. Started to put this together, and it was almost finished. We put some finishing touches on it, but it was called the African State of Emergency Mental Health Advocacy Team Travel and Wellness Guide. And we went through lots of different points of putting together a literal, actual physical guide and a PDF that could be of aid to people to help them with mental health stuff, cultural readiness, physical health, when they get sick, where they can go, what they should do, and all these different travel tips, and kind of like encapsulate that. And I feel that travel guide should be a part of what I'm talking about as far as the onboarding of
absolutely
systems, right? It should all be like one bundle, and we should have relationships on the ground, wherever it is, the Gambia, Senegal, Ghana, whatever, where might have a list of people or practitioners or places where they can go, and they know that these Africans are like trying to work together with diasporas, that they're open, that they're grounded, and that they're safe, like they've been vetted. Yeah, so that's kind of like the overshot as I was taking these notes here. But also, I got to say that what I'm proposing is also not a one-shot deal. The idea of mental health wellness is something that must be continual.
Yes, sir.
That means that this type of education, whether it's whether it's clinical psychology or other types of health and wellness, need to be ongoing, because the forces that have made us sick are ongoing and pressing in on us all the time. So it's not like just like, okay, we're going to take the onboarding thing, we're going to do the MHAT, welcome wagon thing, okay, check that off, I'm good, let me live my life. It doesn't work that way psychodynamically, because the pressures and the realities are there. Colonialism is there. Imperialism is there. The economic stuff is there. The past fears and traumas that you got from your parents, your grandparents, all that stuff is there. The self-hate, and you see Africans on the continent bleaching their skin, straightening their hair, like, and all of this mad, sick self-hate stuff. So what I want to put into place also, and this might start first at the Mali Center in Freetown, is ongoing support, ongoing training, ongoing programming that deals with the mental health aspects of this. Because family, if we don't get over the mental piece of this, we're not gonna make it. It's not just enough to roll up your hands, roll up your sleeves, and dig and do some farming. That's great, and do some cultural learning. That's all great, but it sits in the bedrock of your psyche, because our oppressors knew that once this was gone, the game was over.
Absolutely, they took that. Absolutely, absolutely.
So that's what I have. And like you mentioned, Chief, we were down a couple of people, and we got to kind of regroup. But that's where my head was at, and that's what I also shared to Sister Aya and Suraj. So yeah, what I got.
It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. I want you expressed that very eloquently in terms of just the reality that when people come here, we come from all different states of minds, but there's this general menticide. There's this general damage that's done to the diaspora psyche,
right?
And we have to acknowledge it. We have to say, hey, if we're going to heal and unite, then we're going to unite. We have to heal. You know, we can't have a bunch of sick people uniting, right? We ain't going to do it right if we all mentally crazy, right? We all disturbed. And you know, it can get lonely out here. You can be isolated out here. You can feel like, man, there's nothing you can do and nobody you can talk to. It can happen in Africa very easily. It sure can happen anywhere, but for those of us living in this lifestyle that we're talking about, this repat life, oh man, it's been many days and nights for me, you know, where I'm like, man, do people even understand what's happening? Like, you know what I mean? Because there's such a blockage of information. It's like deliberately that the diaspora is not supposed to get an accurate understanding and depiction of what Africa is, so we can't plan and prepare for it. When by the time we get here, we're caught off guard. Everything is hitting us upside the head, and so I think that is over. There's enough people who have come back now to begin to say, no, we gotta avoid some of this shenanigans, right? Some of this corruption, right?
And if I may, because you touched on something, and I want to embellish it because it's really, 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 really important. And you and I have had private conversations around some of the psychology and the reality of this. Umoja is a great idea. Unity, right? But like you just said, you mentioned it. If you got a bunch of sick people coming together and they don't know they're sick, they're going to make a whole lot more sickness and a whole lot more crazy. This is why so many Black organizations will just self-destruct. You know, the brothers are sleeping with the sisters sleeping with the brothers, someone's stealing money, someone done did this, someone did that. And then you keep devolving into, how come we can't get along? How come we can't move forward? How come? It's because you came in and of no fault of your own, you come in carrying this virus. You brought this bacteria in, you brought this disease in, but you didn't know that you had it. And here's the uncomfortable piece about it. It is hard work to expunge that stuff from your system, and it takes facing some fears, and it takes facing some realities. Too many Black folks want to go for the good feeling.
Yeah.
They want to go for the rah-rah. They want to go for the, yeah, we together, we Black, you know, we melanated. Yeah, we're strong and resilient. There are too many people who use this mantra of we're strong and resilient. We're strong people. And it's not a lie, but they rest in that. They stay within this thing like, well, you know, yeah, we've been through so much, and they stay there. And it's like, okay, my brother, my sister, now let's see what all of that pain and trauma has done to you physically and emotionally, and let's go into that. So when my organization, ESPET, when we teach Amos Wilson classes, they are almost like therapy. They are therapeutic classes because the classes require you to do internal work and purging. It's like detoxing your system. So it is going to be uncomfortable, and it will produce, I promise you, it will produce anxiety when you do this work. But that is the only way out of this because we've been poisoned. And Amos Wilson, when he taught classes, and you can hear him say this in some of his lectures, he said, when he was teaching in school, he said, if you were comfortable in my classes, something was wrong. He said, because I was there to raise your level of uncomfortableness and raise your level of anxiety.
I say.
Not to keep you there, but to get you through, because you can't go through what we've gone through for the past 400 or 500 years and up to this point and not have stuff in your system that you must deal with. So for those who want that whole timeshare thing, and those who want to like meet the chief of the village, and those who want to get authentic kente cloth and get a new name, stuff like that, beautiful. But you got to deal with the hard realities of how deeply we have been affected and infected by this problem.
Yeah, man. And you know, Baba FM, I think some of this training, some of this information can happen while we remain in the diaspora before we get home. And then some of it has to be has to be real once you get here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like almost like you have to be prepared for the continent, and then when you get here, you kind of got to be oriented and kind of guided into a more successful experience here, or else what you said earlier is going to keep happening. People are going to come, they're going to lose, they're going to go back, they're going to have bad opinions about the continent. And the whole time we've been here saying we need to be organized. We need to be organized. You know.
Mm-hmm. And they've got to understand that the warfare is continual. It doesn't mean you have to stay on the battlefield all the time. Take your rest. Take a vacation.
Yes, sir.
Get off the field. Get some loving. Get some hugging. Get some good food. Get some good sleep. But understand that the oppressor does not stop. So the conditioning does not stop. So you have to understand that until we get through this phase, we are soldiers. We are warriors. And warriors need to be sharp. They need to be trained. And they need to be aware at all times. You can't come in and just go to sleep. Say, oh, I got my passport, I got my visa, I got my citizenship. I'm good now. Yeah, I'm gonna just sit here.
Absolutely. I've seen it so much, brother. And a lot of times it's those with that kind of attitude that that make us look bad and end up getting themselves hurt out here, you know, and leading other people into bad conditions and things like that. It's those adventuristic individuals that's out here for the thrills and the chills that get, you know, they really misrepresent us and make us all look like fools. And that's why people think they can target us. You know, you don't target someone who you think is intelligent. You target a fool. You understand? Yep. And so shout out to Sister ERA. This is her saying, African greetings, family. You know, nothing but love and respect, sister, all day long. But bye-bye, fam. Thank you for that. I want to go into the third team now. We talked about the international coordinating team and what we've been doing mainly in Gambia. We just heard from Bye-Bye Fam to summarize the importance of the mental health and some of the things that we've been discussing and preparing to launch through the ASE Collective for the people who's coming back. And then also we have our public relations team. Now, we can meet privately and have all these ideals and we can come up with plans and actions, but it's the public relations team responsibility to create the graphics and to parlay and engage with the public on behalf of ASE Collective. Not an easy task at all. Just like Baba FM was saying, this is a constant thing. So information and designs and video editing is ongoing. I've seen my wife, Kenya, work around the clock to make sure that enough information was circulating, not only for ASE Collective, but for various organizations and groups that we're a part of. And so this is one of the areas that now I believe people take for granted because you can just make a quick graphic using AI. You can just create your own platform and get your own followers and stuff. And so this aspect of movement work is suffering as a consequence of the digital revolution as well. People are just AI and everything now. And so that's cool, nothing wrong with that, but we still have to be organized. We still have to be organized in a way where we can engage the public, whether it's media, communities, or whatever, as a single group. So having the logo that we have, setting up the accounts for registration that we have, the social media page, this symposium is all organized behind the scenes by the public relations team. And Kenya is the head of that team. She leads the public relations work for the ASE Collective as the PRO. But what was the year like for you? And what do you need in this capacity?
Okay, so the year was eventful, I'll say. For instance, we've conducted, ASE has conducted various different interviews on different platforms, specifically Kimbunga. You can talk about the interviews that you guys did with the Mali ambassador.
Oh, yeah.
The interviews that we did, myself and Sister ERA did with Mama Balo. And I did interviews with Brother Zeb and Sister Jalika in the Gambia to get that information out. We did gather some like video coverage of some of the town halls that we did. We put some of that information out. But of course, the public relations, as he said, is around the clock. And all of these teams, we do have 3 specific teams that we work on. One is the public relations team, which myself head, and I have a couple of other members there. But we're always recruiting for more hands on deck to assist us with these things. Of course, Baba Afam was saying he's in the mental health. If you're a mental health professional, a counselor, anything that deals with the psyche and anything, any health related, we need your help. International coordinator, I know you guys will go over that, but the public relations thing is we're looking for more people to assist us because there's a lot of information out there, concerning the African diaspora coming in and going, that we can gather information from other sources and share them on our platform for the general public. Who's traveling, who's investing, who's living in Africa. So that's what I have to say about that, and it's ongoing. We do have an upcoming town hall meeting that will be happening in September, and we invite you guys, the general public, to that, and we'll be putting more information out. And if anyone who wants to contact us can at africanstateofemergency@gmail.com. I'll put that out there. You can always email us there or visit us on basani.org. We do have a webpage on there. Click at the top, African State of Emergency, and from there you can check us out.
All right. So that is the team makeup, and that is basically the general report for the year. Thank you so much, everybody, for just providing that to the people. That way they know we ain't just been sitting on our hands. We meet monthly. We do as much work as we possibly can do. And so far so good.
What about the ICDC team?
In terms of the ICDT team, we talked about that already. But yeah, that's the main. Gambia is like the main highlight for the team. But it is responsible for me to probably touch on the international coordinating and diplomacy aspect as well before we move forward. So the international coordinating and diplomacy work is very, very important. And the reason why it's important is because we implement and we organize and we coordinate through that particular team. We're looking for local organizers around the world to take on the responsibility of joining us as volunteer coordinators. And through the responsibility as a coordinator, we engage in diplomatic work. The kind of work that Brother Zeb was talking about, engaging authorities, engaging the community. We actually we would say the organizational component of the collective, right? Everyone else pretty much works behind the scene. If you have an issue with mental health team, it's kind of behind the scenes. You'll work with those members of the team. But with the ICDT now, you'll see us out in the community organizing events and engaging with other groups and actually government authorities and things. So this team is the actual organizing team of the collective. So we're always looking for more people who have organizational backgrounds, who also have professional backgrounds in areas of problem solution, which is pretty much what diplomacy is, solving problems, working together with others to solve problems, basically what diplomacy work is, understanding that, psychology of that, and the best ways to do it and applying it to our own situation. So ICDT is that. We do have membership in Kenya. We have membership in Egypt. We have membership in Tanzania. Here in Sierra Leone, of course, and then Ghana and Gambia. But as a group, we also have membership there in the United States and the UK, right? So we have our membership spread across the board, and the whole goal of ICDT is to make sure that we're coordinating in the best fashion across the board to make sure that when we implement our strategies, we can implement anywhere. We want to implement like we did in Gambia. We came together, we strategized, and we implemented in Gambia. Brother Zeb and Sister Janika led the way, but it was a collective move, and we were able to get some goals accomplished. At a given time, we had to do the same thing in Brooklyn. We'll be moving behind Baba FM. If at the same time we had to move in Tanzania, we're moving behind Sister Abina, right? So that's the kind of ideal of having a team for that. This collective is based on a model of organizing known as network organizing. We're not top heavy. Few people, few individuals could do this work, but it does require knowing what kind of system we're organizing in, because we're not an army, so we're not a dictatorship, we're not a political party. We're a collective. We're a collective of individuals that's voluntarily working together in order to solve some problems together. But all are welcome to come join the ICDT. We're looking for members full time. If you think you're ready for that, come on board. All right. So I want to move forward to the second part of this discussion as well, so we can kind of take the people through some of what we said right here. Challenges and community needs. So we want to have a guided conversation around key challenges that are facing us here as diasporics on the continent. And in doing that, I want to ask a few questions. And the questions, we all can kind of like pass them around and move on to the other ones. But the first question that I'd like to ask to the panel is, what safety security gaps exist on the continent? What are the gaps? What are the open spaces, right? What do we have to fill in terms of our security and safety of the continent?
Just want to tell you real quick, you got some echo coming from your mic now. I don't know what happened, but there's some feedback happening.
Okay, I think that's Mama Jalika. Mute. Yeah. All right. So the floor is open, y'all.
What's the gaps?
Yeah. I say that, first of all, the first gap is not being organized. There is a gap. There is a lack of organizing around the safety and security happening. We don't have to be the only group organizing, but there should be more organizing around the issue of safety and security. I think one of the main things is a lack of organization in terms of this safety and security. The main gap.
I'll say, secondly, I'll say a lack of systems. Of course, like in America and the UK, we have a system of, 911. That's the system. What system do we have on the continent in our respective countries? If there's an emergency, what's happened? What's step 1, 2, and 3? I don't know. We don't know. Typically, when we come to these countries, we're really lost on how it works. And then as Baba Zeb and Mama Jalika was saying that they were asking the law enforcement, okay, what happens? Are you equipped to deal with this? What's your system for the general public? Because whatever system you have currently in place for everybody else have to be there for us. But if they don't have a system in place for themselves, that's where the problem comes in. So systems.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would agree with that one. I mean, in the Gambia itself, it will be no ambulance service, no fire service. When I say no, very limited, because I have seen the odd fire engine or the odd ambulance. The ambulances are going to be part of a private healthcare. So if you're not part of the private healthcare, it's not like you're just going to phone a number and ambulance service will come. So you'd have to be part of a private healthcare in order to see that happening. Police services are also quite limited, although their presence is all over the place. We can see them, so that's one good thing. But in terms of any emergency, it again, they are not equipped for emergency purposes. So, like I said, there's no systems in place where you can phone a particular number and so forth for anything like that to happen. And again, even knowing knowing this, for example, going to a healthcare provision. So if you were ill and you have to go to a hospital, what are the hospitals out there? Because some of the hospitals there is not maybe adequate, or could provide the right health care. So again, it's just to know all of these things and coordinate them and understanding where to go and where to get this information from. So
Yeah,
yes, it is limited in the Gambia.
yeah. Mama Jalika.
I'm back now. I caught a bit of what my brother Zeb was saying. Can you hear me?
Hmm.
And I just have to agree with him. On top of all of that, sometimes it's about, if you are unwell and want assistance from any of the clinics or the hospital, you haven't got much confidence in terms of the medication or how they're going to treat you. But this was all brought about in our town hall meetings to discuss a way forward. And that's why I keep saying we need to have our own tables. We need to discuss. We need to have a way forward. Myself and Brother Zeb was looking at certain doctors, Gambian doctors, who have had their training in America or UK. And we were going to bring them together to be involved with ASHE. So that's what we intend to do.
Yes.
Right. So, okay, I'm getting echo. Oh, to Mama Jalika. So, yeah, it's real. The insecurity on the continent in general, the general insecurity on the continent, the lack of infrastructure on the continent, the bad roads, the corruption in the government at the high level and the low level, the corruption in the business sector. When they see you and they boost the price up three times, we face those things. Those are real things that we face here, and it can be difficult because, for me, I knew Africans in America before I came here. Yeah. And I was never trying to get over on them. I was never trying to exploit them. I never had the mind that if I see an African, I should up the price. I've never had, if I see an African, maybe I should help him. Maybe I should give him some advice. Watch out. Somebody try to pick on him, I should stand up for him, right? More than that, but here, oh my God, it'll be so repeated. It'll hit you in the head so many times. You'll be like, man, am I a fool? Yeah. Or is it just like the culture for everybody to just treat everybody like this, right? And so these are aspects that we can't talk about because when you think Africa, everybody thinks we're talking about traditional Africa. We're talking about neo-colonial Africa. We're talking about Africa that's dominated and controlled by imperialist forces and not the African people themselves. Talking about Africa that don't have system. It don't have system. In America, it was Black people who created the EMT system. It was Black people who first came together and created the first emergency system for our community, and then they took it. They took it over. They took our ideal, and now you got the ambulance all over the place, right? They never tell you that it was Black people doing it for themselves first. And so that's all this is us doing this for ourselves. Margaret Mosiah Garvey 100 years ago with the UNIA ACL, with those millions of African ancestors that we had that stood in unity with that program, they had the Black Cross nurses. They had a system for responding to the emergency needs of the community. And they didn't just say, well, we're going to have people make phone calls and it's going to be a 911 thing. No, they trained every man, woman, and child according to what the community needed. So Marcus Garvey wanted the men to be part of the Legionnaires, which should be the physical security force. And the women, they was trained to be the nurses. They was trained to be able to perform surgeries and know how to work herbs and, to be our number one go-to when we don't feel well. We don't run to the white man sister. We run to the closest sister because she's trained. And so I think that's what we mean when we say self-reliance, is that not only does this have to be done, but it has to be done in a way where it's on the basis of self-reliance. that we can't go to the European and ask them for help with this. We can't go to the Asian and ask them for help with this. Our safety and security is our issue. And so it's one of those things that I believe we can galvanize masses of people to relate at least to this challenge. To me, I think it's the challenge of our generation, because how well we're able to return will ultimately determine how well we're able to play our historical role in redeeming Africa. No matter where we're from in the diaspora, the goal is to redeem Africa. The concept is that if Africa is free, then we're all free. If Africa is developed, then we're all developed. Then you see Chinese people all around the world. They move around, they have pride, and you never see them at gas stations, but they own them. You never see them, you never see them eating at Chinese restaurants, but they own them, right? They have their own hospitals here in Africa. They build their own infrastructures. Right. We, the African diaspora, have to build our own infrastructures, and the African governments have a responsibility and an obligation to assist us in as much way as possible to make sure that we can effectively return. Because just like we're talking about our safety and security, but we can't discuss it without making Africa a better place. We can't talk about the safety and security of the African diaspora on the continent without considering how we're going to train local Africans in emergency response. We can't do it. This is when you say Pan-Africanism, this is what they call practical Pan-Africanism. Practical collaboration of Africans across the board around a common issue that we all can tackle voluntarily. Nobody got to pay me for this. We all can volunteer and make our situation safer. And so we do got some responses here. I'll put them up on the table just in case. Brother Quadro says, Hotep family, this is an amazing conversation. I'm a cybersecurity professional, and in my line of work, I build incident response plans for my customers. We need something similar for relocated Africans. Wow, exactly.
Yo, Chief, this is one of the brothers I've been telling you about that I wanted to hook you up with, and he showed up. Okay. Brother Quadro, I'm so glad you're here, man. But Chief, I need to jump on what you were talking about earlier about having our own systems and stuff. What the Chinese have that we don't, what the Arabs have that we don't, what the Jews have that we don't, which we did have before, is an African consciousness, right? For those who know me, and I know you know this about me, Chief, I'm very steeped in Asian culture. I'm deep in the Chinese community. I'm deep in the Japanese community. I speak the language. I speak Japanese. So I know how they move and how they think. And one of my sifus, one of my teachers in Chinese medicine and Chinese health, said something to me years ago during the time that George Floyd was the public execution of George Floyd. That's what I always call it, public execution of George Floyd. He said something to me here in Chinatown in New York, which was really, really simple, but it sent chills down my back because I see how the Chinese presence and economic strength and consciousness is growing. And he said this to me. He said, we Chinese people, we know who we are. That's all he said. They know who they are. They might not like each other. They might fight in their own families, whatever, but they know who they are as a people. They have a consciousness as a people. So when it's time to make moves and buy real estate, to create a hospital, to invest in technology, all this other stuff, they will move as one, right? But we've lost that foundational consciousness, and this plugs into MHAT. This is another piece of what I want to place into MHAT, is that reclaiming of that African consciousness. Because when I'm seeing other Black men and Black women, I'm seeing Africans. I don't care where you come from. That's where I start from psychologically. Other people like, are you Trinidadian? Are you African?
Absolutely.
And all that tribal stuff comes in, and that is not serving our unity. We're not going to be able to build strong enough and cohesive enough programs unless our consciousness gets back online and it is cohesive.
Absolutely.
That doesn't mean that everybody has to be on board, but there has to be a critical mass of Africans who have retained their consciousness and are working to keep that consciousness in play, because that is, like Amos would say, like an economic system is about relationships.
Oh yeah,
All these
production.
are about relationships, and you can't relate to someone else if you are fighting with them or you think that they're not you, or worse than that, you as a black person swear up and down that you are not black, that you're a Native American, you're an Indian, or I'm not this, I'm not that. I heard there was some it was a TikTok post or something. This brother and this sister did this little music video. I don't know, maybe you posted it, Chief. And this they in a park and they rapping and they did.
Yeah.
And she said in her rap, she said, being black is a curse.
Mm-hmm.
Did you catch that?
I heard it.
Right?
Yeah.
And I could go on and on with that. But a lot of Negroes have this. So they shave their nose and they whiten their skin because they see this as a curse. Anyway, I'm talking too much. Go ahead.
No, you're on point. You're on point. You know, that is a perfect breakdown of the, you know, the what I would call the result of white supremacy on the minds of African people, right? When we say that self-hatred, that self-defeatism, where you think it comes from? It ain't naturally in us, right? It's being acculturated in us. It's something that we only we can stop it in our own minds.
Yeah.
That's how deep it is, right? And
No one else can do
that. Brother Quadro, I like his spirit because he's talking about cybersecurity. Now, Baba FM, you know, brother Abi, our brother from Jitola Kimbunga. Me and him, we always talk about cybersecurity and where technology is going, where the digital world is going. You know, there's a whole world online that don't exist in the real world, right? It's called the digital world, and the insecurities involved with that are immense. And I'm telling you, the average person, we don't know the basics about securing ourselves in the digital world. But this brother working in cybersecurity, or what he was saying, made me think about the ASE app, and made me also think about the fact that we do need some cybersecurity if we're going to be doing this on the continent. We need a cybersecurity team. You understand?
Absolutely. So, a dedicated team.
Yeah, so the brother says an incident response plan lists all of the legal, regulatory, and administrative steps to take once a cyber attack has occurred. We need a similar document for Africans relocating to the motherland. Absolutely, brother. Quadro, that's what we're working on here, man. You need to join up. Join the ASE Collective is the best way to move forward. I see Sister Ia Ray says cultural orientation. Exactly, cultural reorientation. We say Sankofa, we lost our natural state of minds as African people. The reversal means that we got to let go of what's there and replace it with what should have been there in the first place. And that's a painful process, but it's what we have to go through. And, you know, I like what you said earlier as well, Baba FM. We all a little bit sick. We all a little bit of sick. Believe that. We got it from mama. We got it from uncle and them. When we watch them behave and watch them respond to crisis and stress, they taught us how to do it too. Yeah. It passed down. And so as soon as we got an issue with each other, what's the first thing we want to do is get mad. First thing we want to do is get angry with each other. We got an issue with white people, man. We fight in anger. Don't get mad. Don't get mad. Don't lose your job. Don't get shot, right? But with us, we ready to swing. We ready to let it loose. You motherfucker, right? That comes from culture. That's culture. Absolutely. And so, exactly. So that comes from being acculturated in the white supremacy system. That comes from integration. That comes from them giving us their paper citizenships and us believing that it makes us equal to them.
Right.
You know? So that's, you know, it's good that we're building our own infrastructure at this point. Not only for safety and security, but for our health as well. I want to ask this question as well too. How can we strengthen our collective response amongst ourselves as the African diaspora on the ground? I know we got some great ideas around that because we're actually involved in it regularly. I can give you some examples of us having to be first responders on the regular out here. People out here thinking they can get sick and just wing it, all that. We got to intervene. So, one, travel safety. How can we strengthen our collective response in terms of travel safety from your perspective and your experience? That's the question on the table.
And when you're saying travel safety, are you saying travel within, with like, for example, within Gambia itself, or wherever you're in Africa, or coming to the continent itself?
Yeah, I
Which
think
one?
I think I mean kind of both.
Okay.
Yeah, traveling to the continent, throughout the continent, and also like us, we live here. So, you know, if I got to travel from here to the center city, you know, so all levels of travel.
Yeah. Oh, it's a difficult one, I suppose, because myself, in terms of my experience going to the Gambia itself, I've been going over a period of years. So you then get to know a bit more as time go by. So you know how to you know how to get to know the people, you know how to deal with certain things, and then people get to know you as well, and they know that you're familiar. So they're not going to maybe do certain things or whatever. So, but I think if I was a newcomer coming in, I think in terms of traveling safety, I think you have to have a particular network. If there was a particular network within Gambia where you can go to get information, I think it's something that would help myself if I was a newcomer, and getting information about certain things, people who have done it, seen it, been there, where I could get information from. That would be a safer avenue for I think people who are just coming in, if things like that could be set up. Or if it's there already, is there people you can contact and get information from around safety? And not only that, in terms of things about buying land and stuff like that, knowing people there already, or going to people who done it, gone through it, and so forth. Again, I think the unfortunate side behind a lot of things is about who you can trust, and I think when people come and you go to somewhere like Gambia or anywhere in Africa, I suppose, you go there and you might think you can do this by yourself because you're not sure who you can go to. So you think you can maybe go and do these things by yourself. And then in the end, you get overwhelmed with, I am on the motherland, I'm here, I'm getting to do this, I'm buying land, I'm doing this. And maybe deep down, people are maybe planning to rob you.
Yeah, man.
But because you're not going to the right people, you're not speaking to people who's been there, done certain things, or can point you maybe in the right direction or guide you through certain things and say, no, the do's and don'ts, don't do this, or you do this. And I think many has maybe suffered that consequence by going and not sure about the trusting of others, even their own returnees, some people they meet, they're not sure whether they can trust in people, and in the end they try to do things themselves, and then they fall in the hands of people out there who scammers and want to swindle them, and have a very bad experience. So I would say maybe a network or something around where people can be pointed towards to say, this is the people who you should be talking to, been there, done that. They've got something there where you can maybe go online, you can contact, and you can get information from, to say who you go to for land, who you go for maybe for security, health centers, whatever it is. There's information there where you can actually find at hand or speak to people who's been in the Gambia or in Africa for a while. So I think that would be maybe one of the ideas I would look for in terms of making my own self safer if I was a returnee now coming into to Gambia, or just arriving and want to sort of start certain things. I would like to know there's a network of things here where I could connect to and get ideas and information from people who's done it before.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You touched on something very important too about the people to trust.
Yes.
I think the last brother who got murdered in Gambia, it was doing a trip. He was riding in his vehicle and they pulled over and said something was wrong, and that's where they killed him at, right there. Yeah.
I'm gonna say this to piggyback up what Baba Zev just said. You're right. It's a lot of mistrust amongst the diaspora that's coming back, but I've noticed that a lot of times the diaspora is more trusting of the locals that they don't know, more so than the people that from the diaspora that they can hold accountable. A lot of the people that's coming back are coming and linking up with local people. You might not, you don't know their real name. Maybe they gave you a false name. You understand? Like some of the things, the craziest things I've seen people come here and we'll give them. Say for instance, we do services and things like that. We've bumped our heads, connected with the people for years and worked with them and know we could deliver on the services. They'll listen to our prices. Oh, no, I'll go with this local person that I don't know, and they'll burn them at the end. They'll say underpriced, say it's lower than this, and burn them at the end and run away. And then they run back to America or the UK saying that Africa is bad. No, you're linking up with the people that is strangers to you, and that's not being held accountable for anything. At least you're with a company that you can be held accountable if something happens. Yeah. You're with an organization that can have checks and balances if something happened, but you're coming and meeting some random person named Abu, that's real name is not Abdul, you know what I'm saying? And thinking that they'll give it over on you because of the mistrust of your own people or the diaspora. So I'm noticing that it's a lack of, it's more of a trust in the local people that might have not have any experience in what they're trying to offer you, you know, and then they'll come here and then get burned by the local people and run back with horror stories, but they don't tell you the whole full story.
It's those who come back as individuals and not to belong to community. They come back for their own individual reason. You have what we call the passport bros and the passport hoes, because they can afford to travel and trick. That's what they're here for. And a lot of people aren't into that, but there's enough that are. And you know, like I said, a few of us can give us all a bad name.
That's true.
I like what Brother Zeb was saying. We need to focus on being visible and being accessible, making sure that people know that this group exists for you, and this is how you assess them. Brother Quadro was saying in the comment section, we should not have blind trust, and that's real. I always tell people in our consultancies that you don't come here and put your guard down.
Right.
You come here and you on point like you moving through, the worst kind of neighborhood wherever you from. Yep. Like you moving through Kingston, like you moving through, Brooklyn, in the 90s, in the 80s. I ain't talking about now, right? You on point. You watching your back. You know what I mean? Not gentrified Brooklyn. I'm talking about real Brooklyn, right?
Man.
You got to watch your back. You got to watch how you talk. You got to have a code of etiquette. You better learn it quick. And you better do it quick, right?
And you always say a lot of people come here and want to give like to charity. They don't do that where they're from.
Oh yeah. It's that kind of behavior. That behavior right there. That's the mental health stuff that we're talking about. That Baba is helping us out to. If someone has lived in America for say 40, 50 years, and since around the age of 18, they've worked 9 to 5, and they've never built an organization. They've never been involved as a philanthropist or charitable work. And for some reason or somehow they come to Africa and they see someone and they're sympathetic and they want to help. They all of a sudden become professional organizers and will set up a legal entity like that and begin to actually compete and contend with the people who are professionals who've actually been there before them doing it. It happens, I think, a lot more than what it says. people come and build, they establish themselves, and then people come behind them and kind of wreck them. You know, it kind of just mess their whole thing up, right? And you know, we can't trust is to be earned.
Yep.
We know that from very early on in life. You don't just see someone and trust someone. You know, but especially not with your life, not with your security. We should always be on point. We should always keep our guards up. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't trust anybody, but it means that we should understand what trust is and know how to develop it and how to develop it and know how to recognize it too. We act like we're a little green when it comes to the struggle, but again,
No, it's an
Echo.
echo.
Sis,
right.
turn off your mic.
Oh, sorry.
I think it's yours, is it?
Okay, I think she wanted to say something. That's what happened. So yeah, the real Brooklyn. Yeah, bruh. Not the gentrified one. So yeah, when you come to Africa, you gotta realize that most of our people here are living in generations of subjectivity, generations of impoverishment. They're also trying their best to get to a middle class, trying to get up off of the bottom. Most people, and the youth, we have an unemployment crisis. The young people have all this energy and fire, but they have very little access to resources that they can use to improve themselves. The same thing it does for us in the ghetto, in the diaspora, it does for the youth here in the rural areas and in the urban areas. So there is a level of, I would say, criminality that comes from that impoverishment. You understand? And we gotta take note of that. We have to understand it. We gotta take note of it. It's not as criminalizing our people, but we understand that the same colonial conditions that produce our criminality, it's the same colonial conditions that's produced criminality in Africa as well. And so we have to deal with it. We have to know how to vet people out, and work with reliable people. Right now, we're working with the Sierra Leone government to assist with citizenship tours. And it's a whole process of dialoguing with the authorities, cooperating and collaborating with other tour companies as well, not competing with them, but collaborating with them, trying to find where the common ground is, how we can produce a better service and a better experience for everyone traveling to Sierra Leone together. Not we compete and we mess the whole thing up for everybody, right? So it's that. We have to begin to mature as we go through these processes. And at the end of the day, I think we're going to figure this out, bye-bye, fam. I believe that this generation, in the next 10 years, we're going to have a serious repatriation community with organizations and institutions that reflect the seriousness of us.
I agree, and it's what I'm trying to nurture through SBET, and I'm trying to make SBET bigger than myself. Like Quadro is a part of that. He's been in some of the SBET training, and we got some really good people. And I'm really encouraging this cross-pollination of skills and interests and talents to like really make this happen. And it will take time. It will be a process, but the more clear we are about who we are and what we're doing, and having that, I'm going to call it a pristine psyche of an African consciousness. I mean, and just coming from Marcus Garvey, that stuff it cleans your brain out every time. Just go back to these truths, these philosophies, and it's not like, Garvey was a god or he should be worshipped or anything like that. He was a man just like anyone else. But his stuff is sound, it's battle tested. It produced results. And that's what I'm really, really focused on. And to Kenya's experience, that stuff about diasporans trusting the locals is all about self-hatred and self-defeat. That is definitely a psychological thing, because they get played by that accent, they get played by the culture, they get played by all this. Like, I ain't gonna mess with no Negroes, I'm gonna trust these Africans. And these Africans be like, cha-ching, cha-ching, ATM.
Call it chopping here.
Yeah, they call it chopping here. They say, hey, they chop you. They even got a category. They call us JCs. Just come. I mean, he just come here.
fresh. He
That's what
don't
they
know
call us.
nothing.
Just come.
Oh man.
Chop 'em.
Chop them. You can
Oh, wow.
they'll chop you in your first 2 weeks. You
You won't even know
already
that
see
you
it.
got chopped.
Look, a few weeks, you like, oh my God, they chopped the hell out of me. Like your head is be chopped off. You don't know.
You still be talking.
Yeah, boom, vicious.
Yeah. So
My
yeah,
God.
man. So you know, this is a good conversation. We about to start wrapping up, but
Yeah.
we got some just a few more things to go over. We're talking about the resources that's needed. I think we can kind of pass through that. But I will say one of the things that in terms of resources is not just finances. In the future, in this year, you're going to see us doing some fundraising. You're going to see us initiate a fundraiser, at least one. And one of them is be for the ASE app. We want to support the In Case of Emergency app, which is being developed by a private technological company owned by our sister Abina and her family. They have done great work to accommodate this need, this very need that we have of emergency response, 911 system. They have a technological approach to it. They develop. They're in the process of developing an app already. We've done some testing with it already. A few more things need to be tweaked. But as you know, it costs to develop. Development costs. This is why we have the brightest minds, but scientifically behind as a whole. It's because when we have these brilliant thinkers and these people who know how to advance our cause using science, we don't have a general policy or attitude towards supporting them. And so ASE Collective wants to change that, especially in the area of safety and security, and show and prove by supporting and building support for the development and the ultimate completion of the ASE app, what we call the ASE app, in case of emergency. Anywhere African people would be at in the world beyond the grasp of the ASE Collective will have access to this ASE app. So it's not just about us, it's about we. It's about collectivity, like Baba Senghor likes to say.
And anybody who has the app can use the app. One of the things that we'll be needing moving forward for certain in countries that will implement the app to have teams down there to assist. Anything with any emergency, domestic violence, fire, health scare, anything, it'll be on that app. So that app will be in place, and it have emergency contacts. It'll alert you if you're having an emergency. The app will actually alert whoever it is that you have your contact of your emergency.
What your emergency is. So if there's a fire, it'll say emergency, fire, house fire.
So your contact will get it in addition to the emergency responding team.
The whole team will get it. We swing it in motion. You know? So and in us being that team that was swinging in motion for ourselves, we would then reach out to our partners, like the people we got at the police, the people that we got at the fire force, the people we got at the. So it's our job to make sure that we connect the diaspora to those institutions and those resources, but that we also play the role of first responders for ourselves.
Right. And another thing that we're going to be doing is the locations that we will have our teams. We're going to do with first aid training, the Red Cross, so people are training. A lot of people here, and we've been in so many emergency situations here. And I remember one time we were doing our cleanups in one community. We had about 100 attendees, and he was asking questions to the community. He was asking, so if one of your friends gets stabbed, what happens?
You know how to stop the bleeding?
If you have a broken bone, they'll fling you all over the place and make it worse. If someone choking, they're clueless about the Heimlich maneuver.
They'll watch you choke.
So those simple little first aid things that we grow up with, learning in our developed countries, quote unquote, is unheard of here.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely.
So the general community needs not just the first responders, but everybody needs to be.
It's awareness.
Exactly. Everybody in the community needs to be first responders.
And in reality, even here in Sierra Leone, just like what you said, Brother Zeb in Gambia.
Yeah.
The people are the first responders anyway.
Anyways.
But you know what I mean? So we just had a fire across the street,
Like 2 months ago.
and it was the neighborhood gangsters that put the
Yes.
fire out. They put the fire out before the fire force got there.
And we had listen. We had one of our members, one of our employees, worked for a news
company.
Yeah, like a TV station, and he had all the numbers for like the emergencies, and he was able to call the firefighters, and they came within like 5 minutes after we called. But in the meantime, it was the brothers.
It was a tussle.
Man, they
It was a tussle, man.
Bucket after bucket, they were throwing buckets of water.
You ever seen an electrical fire get fought with bucket water? I'm talking about, brother. Listen, they put electrical fire. The whole house burnt to the ground.
Yeah.
But they put the fire out before the fire force came, and all they used was buckets of water, bro. They had an assembly line from the wells. That's how they did it, and whether they were trained or not, it looked like they were trained. And so that was a perfect example of the people locally using the resources and the knowledge that they have to respond to emergency situations for themselves. I'm saying that as members of the African diaspora, we're always saying, well, what are we going to contribute to Africa when we get there? Why it always got to be you coming back buying a mansion or getting a wife or getting a hubby?
Yeah.
Why it can't be, we're going to make Africa safe for all of us?
Yes.
Why it can't be that? Why we can't repatriate that security consciousness, that these, why we can't repatriate these things and make it more about a cultural, like Sister said, a cultural reorientation. It's us learning about each other and helping each other to create better systems. That's the way to come back. Some people think it's to come back and show that you've been to how many African countries and how many fine women you ate dinner with or lunch with. That is so bogus, man. It's so backwards. It's so backwards. And so we want to encourage responsible travel to the continent. Yes. Responsible and safe travel while we live here. Very, very important. And so Baba fam, I know you want to say something, man. I see you over there itching for a scratch.
No, man, it's like, no, I'm loving everything you're saying. One thing I want to say is that we got to get me, you, and Quadro into that meeting, like I wanted to set up on Telegram. But I mean, you're saying a mouthful, and coming back to the continent doesn't necessarily mean physically coming back. You can stay in Canada, you can stay in Brazil, you can stay wherever and be doing the work, like come and visit. But it also gives us strategic powers and strategic capacity when you are located in different places, when you've got your feet on the ground in California or Texas or wherever else. So I'm loving what you're saying, and I'm once this is done, I'm gonna take this clip from YouTube and I'm gonna put it on my Patreon and put it within my SBET group, because I've been trying to corral my own SBET people who have been floating. And what I call floaters are like they're Black nationalists, they're Pan-Africanists, but they're not connected to an organization and they're not connected to a vision, right? Yeah. So like this is actually a global vision, because it's not just in some pocket. This is literally like where Quadro is right now. He could be doing fire stuff for Africa right out of the States, right? And all of us can be that way because the technology.
Exactly. So that's exactly what the whole model is: the network organizing, utilizing technology, utilizing digital activism, and still focusing on traditional organizing as well. Make sure that we don't get stuck online talking. That this conversation turns into real work in the real world offline. You understand? So that's our whole recipe for success anyway. But the way forward, I just want to touch on. We were going to have open discussion, but I just wanted to go over some things, and then we can just go open floor. If anybody out there has any questions that you want to ask the panel, you can now put them in the comment section wherever you're watching from. Any questions you have. Okay, yeah. Okay, we'll check the link. We're going to put the link inside the comment section. If you want to come on, you can actually join us. But just give us a moment. We'll bring you out once we're done this next section. So the StreamYard link is up. It's there. Anyone who wants to come on can come out and ask a question, make a comment, whatever they would want to do. But just to wrap up in terms of the way forward, to make an announcement, I believe it's September 18th, right? September 18th, the ASE Collective will keep our first international virtual town hall. We will be making the announcement probably within the next 24 hours, and we would like to invite people to also join us. So there will be an opportunity for those who want to join us on the panel for the discussion to get the link and come on board if they wanted to as well, and have this conversation about safety and security at, at a different kind of level, the international kind of level, because I believe that outside of the African continent, we need these safety and security systems in London. We need them in New York. We need them, in San Juan in Puerto Rico. We need them in Cuba. We need them as African people everywhere. And so it's good for us to keep the conversation at that level, so we don't get lost in locality. Right now, what our movement is suffering from is ultra-localism, ultra decentralization. Everyone's decentralized at the local level. Outside of that, we can't operate. And so that's why we're experiencing this paralysis, right? And then also, we will be campaigning, like I was saying earlier, we'll be launching an official fundraising campaign to support the completion of the in case of emergency application, which would be a tremendous support for us here on the continent as we implement ASE Collective's plans. So we will be calling to the community. We'll be asking you to donate, support, $5, $10, $20, spread the word, help us out, help us achieve these goals. It takes money for some of this. We're volunteers, but some of this, it costs. When Brother Zeb and Mama Jalika are in Gambia and they're moving around and they're meeting the authorities, that's on their pocket. That ain't right, because we're doing this work for everybody. And you might not benefit from it now, but your children might benefit from it later. And this is something that we're doing for the whole race to benefit from, for the whole African nation as we perceive it to benefit from. And so let's be nationalistic about it. See it as your patriotic duty to support ASE Collective as an African. And, other operations that's built on this same kind of platform, the same kind of principle. And then also we will probably be doing more physical town halls, but the town halls that we'll have in person will be more based on the response that we get from the virtual outreach. We don't want to be bugaboos either. We're not Jehovah's Witnesses. We're not running around chasing the diaspora. Hey, you should join us. We're not doing that either. We will make sure that the glass of clean water is there. That is, you can see it, you can reach it, and you can take a drink if you want to, but we won't force you to drink it. And we won't throw the water on you either. It's up to you, right? It's up to you. It's just there for you. If you want to drink, have a drink. And so that's our attitude. We're not in competition. I know there's other groups out there that may be considering doing the same work. We should meet up. We should see what we have in common. We should see how we can tackle some issues together, and never take it as a competition. And so groups out there that specialize in emergency response training, security, groups like the Black Panther Party, Nation of Islam, where we got people who can give us some workshops on self-defense and home security. How do I secure my house? If you don't teach people, sometimes they don't know. That's the reality of it. And that's what happened. Our people haven't got the basic lessons of how to live a safe life. And that's why we're all in this situation. So it's about a culture, y'all. It's a collective, but this is about a culture. This is about understanding our situation, and that it's our job to make sure that we're safe and that our communities are secure. It is no one else's responsibility. No one else's. And if we can't call ourselves Pan-Africanists, and we get our money, we come back to Africa, and we can't conduct ourselves as a single people here, shame on us. We're the ones who are supposed to be able to know how to get along despite the differences. Look what happened to our ancestors. They found themselves on the bows of ships with sometimes people who they perceived as enemies. Right now, you got Bloods and Crips that go to prison in America, and immediately they're under a truce against the white boys. Immediately, they stop the beef, but on the streets, they blow each other's head off. Right? It's a problem. We have a serious sickness, serious problem, and it expresses itself in every area of engagement. every area that we have to engage in. Being conscious of that is the only way that we can heal from it. It's the only way that we can build the kind of systems and organizations that can tackle the real problems. I don't want to lose another member of the African diaspora on the continent to murder. I don't want to lose another member of the African diaspora on the continent because they had mental illness and they didn't have anyone to reach out to, right? We don't want that. That's what we're standing up for. And when you understand that there's so many pressures against that, there's so much, it's an uphill battle. It's not like, oh, well, that's easy here, take and go. No, it's not take and go. We still got to go in our pockets and go into our own brains, into our own willpower and manifest. That's what our obligation is. That's what our challenge is. And so what do you think the challenge is for the Asian when they come here? The same thing. They have to monitor their own safety and security. It's not the blacks monitoring their safety. They already have a protocol and system among themselves.
Yeah, we see it.
They don't show money to Africa. They don't show cash money to nobody. They hide their cash.
They don't pull a wad of money out and flip through it. No.
They don't do that, but I've seen diasporans pull out millions of leones in their hands in what poorest ghettos and not know like somebody could be desperate enough to stab you for that right now. Somebody could be desperate enough to stab you for that little bit of cash in your hand right now. And so this is about changing the culture. Not just us, y'all. I want to make this point clear. It's not just about the diaspora. We say this diaspora stuff like it's a whole nother kind of African. No. It's about Africans. It's about Africa. And the different roles that we can play in it. There's Africans on the continent who we need you. We need your collaboration. We call for your collaboration. Please collaborate with us. Let us stop acting all bold like we got all the answers. And if Africans don't submit to our superiority, then we won't work with them.
We need the partners. We need
the partners. Yeah. We need the collaboration.
For success for all of us.
And so that's the power of us stepping forward to do this for ourselves, is that we get to determine how we do it. That is the power they take from us.
That's right.
Yeah, they give us the opportunity to do it, but they determine how we're going to do it. They set the parameters. And so not this time. We're breaking free. This is a maroon operation. This is an operation of maroonage. This means we are running away from their systems and creating our own. That's what it means. If somebody gets sick in the bush, we better know how to heal them. We can't go back to master. We can't go back to the plantation.
Yep.
That's what this is for us, especially those of us on the continent who refuse to return. Not that we can't, we refuse. We refuse to return. For what? Why? For who? What's there for me? And so this sensation is growing all over the African world. More Africans are learning more about Africa and seeking to come home. This is why you have the counter movements, the counter identity movements that's arising. This is why you have FBA and ADOS and these African diaspora wars. And that's why this is happening. That's something mental. That's not physically happening in the real world.
Nope.
That's what's happening psychologically as African people are beginning to come into mental contact with each other. Online, is that we're clashing. It was always meant for us to clash. But also always remember that after every clash, there must be peace. War is not permanent. There must be a peace at the end. At the end, we must sit down and negotiate, okay, we're not going to fight. We're going to work together. How are we going to do that? Those of us who are taking the initiative today to build new institutions, to pioneer new ways, we will be at that negotiating table. We will be there. We're there now. But we need your support out there. We need the support of our community abroad, and we also need the support of our brothers on the continent, our sisters on the continent, or it just will be incomplete.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to get this brother from Ghana. Well, I mean, he's from Brooklyn, but he's a Ghana brother. That's the other one I wanted to hook you up with. Trying to get him in the StreamYard right now.
All right, cool.
So give me a second.
Cool, man. So, hey, y'all got any questions out there? Go ahead. Y'all can put it in the chat or whatever.
Or hit the link.
Yeah. Any questions about the mental health advocacy team? Hey, man, y'all better learn something. Everybody got something smart to say. Everybody, you know what I mean? I'm for real. Y'all know me. I like to be straight up. if you watch social media, man, everybody's a psychiatrist. Everybody knows what's wrong with everybody. But when we say step up, our people need help on the continent, you don't step up. Right? That's a problem. I know people that brag, oh, I'm an organizer, I'm a great activist. We say, man, step up for the continent, man. Our people we have an issue on the continent. They can't. They can't. We say, man, listen, man, we gotta get the word out. We got a public relations team. We need help. We need, man, you design great flyers. I see you do all this digital work all day on Facebook. We need your help. Real people in the real world on the continent. Black people. And you can't respond. So this is a weeding and seeding process as well. This is a process where we ourselves get to understand who's serious about our survival and who's not.
Absolutely. I like that, weeding and seeding.
Yeah, man.
Separating the wheat from the chaff.
That's it. That's it, man. That's it. What happened to the brother? Was you able to get the brother the link?
Yeah, send him the link. Seeing if he can get in here. He had an emergency previously, and he was trying to get in here at 12 o'clock. I'm trying to get him in here now. And he's from Ghana originally. He's a lawyer. He's an immigration lawyer. He's a real good friend of mine. And Quadro and this brother that I wanted to introduce to you.
Yeah.
So hopefully he can get in, because I'm gonna have to actually bounce in a little bit.
Yeah, we all about to get up out of here. We've been over here for about 2 hours, but I definitely want to just appreciate the time that y'all took to be here. And also, you know, the floor is open if you guys have any finishing statements or anything y'all want to get off your chest before we get out of here. But I do want to hang around a little bit and wait and see if Brother Quadro can come in. He's been with us most of the day before we get out of here. But hey, everybody out there, please, if you know for a fact that you have a talent or skill that's useful within the context of ASE Collective as presented here today, don't be bashful. Reach out. Reach out. And you know, our whole mentality is that nobody can do it all, but everybody can do something.
Yep.
Everybody can do something, right? And whatever that one thing that you can do, we want it. We need it.
Absolutely.
I would like to say, people that are watching and have intention to come to Gambia, please, if you are in Gambia, come and shout me. If you are interested in terms of ASE to help, I'm getting on now. I'm getting a little bit old now. I need some young blood. Yes, young Pan-African blood. Come and assist. Come and help. It would be good. Don't sit where you are and thinking all is well. Just come. This is the future. I'm trying to give to you. This is a legacy. Yes? Come. That's all.
Thank you, Mama Jalika, for sure. You have anything last? Can you? I know we need more members for the public relations team. Yeah. That's why I was just talking crap.
Yeah. So if you have any editing skills, even journalism, in journalism, if you have a writing skills, photos. What is it called? Photoshop, video editor, anything that you think could assist with the public relations work, please reach out.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sure to reach out to my little networks and sub networks, because like I said, I know a lot of floaters and I know a lot of people with good intentions and stuff like that. So I'm gonna present them with this, and one thing it will do, it will take away the excuse of I don't know what to do. I want to help, but da 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 da. I'm gonna give them something. It's like, listen, you ain't got to leave your crib. You ain't got to leave the city or the state. It's like, you can do some stuff right now. Here you go. And don't give me no lip. And then how you respond will tell me all I need to know, and also will inform me of like who I'm wasting my time with.
Absolutely.
I'm not so concerned about having masses of numbers, but in high quality people, because even the small can overturn the large. I'm not hung up on waiting on 10, 20 million Africans to show up. It's like, give me 500,000 that are on point, and we're gonna do something.
Oh yeah, we free. Yeah, we free.
Right? For sure. All right, so I don't know what's happened to him. He hasn't come into
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. We about to get out of here. We about to get out of here. But that wraps it up for us. This is the second official African State of Emergency Collective, what we call it, symposium, annual symposium. Hopefully the viewers out there, you got a bunch of information. You've been able to see that we've been working, that we've been organizing. Organizing is work. It's not free, but we do it for the people. So we ain't looking for no money, but like I said, y'all get ready for them fundraisers. We have some technology to develop. We're looking for more volunteers for our teams. If you know you got the skills and you got the time and you don't get involved in this right now, man, shame on you. No, we understand, but if you're definitely ready to make a change in Africa and you know you want to be here without being here, you really want to have hands on the ground, this is one of them kind of programs you can really be actively involved with some real stuff on the continent through. Check us out. Check us out at Basani, www.bsani.org, basani.org. We do have a page there dedicated specifically to ASE Collective. You'll be able to learn more about our ideals, about our staff, some of our plans there. You'll also be able to join from by that way. And yeah, get involved, stay involved. That's all I really pretty much got to say to the people out there. We gonna do our thing. Look forward to seeing you guys September 18th. We'll be back here at Kimbunga Media. What time is it on the 18th?
12 p.m. EST.
12 p.m. EST. We'll be here. Hopefully we can have Brother Quadro there for that conversation. I know I want to invite several members of the UNIA, maybe a few Basani members. Have a real good conversation, you know, next month. But for everyone out there, thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we look forward to the next go round. All right. See you at the town hall. Thank you.
All right. Beautiful. All right. Peace out.